You ever sit at a table for six and realize not a single damn chair was ever meant for you? My name's Dana. I'm 38, no kids, single, and I live in Minneapolis. I'm the oldest of three, but most days I feel like I'm the family's unpaid intern. You know the role. Quietly reliable, always available, never really invited. My birthday was last Thursday. I'm not big on celebrations, but this year felt different. I'd been working double shifts, trying to keep my head above water after co-signing a loan I shouldn't have, and I just needed something to feel like mine. Just one night, one meal, with my mom, my sister Sierra, and my brother Logan. That was the whole list. My entire inner circle. I made a reservation at this new Thai spot downtown, Chiang's on Nicolette. Logan mentioned it a few weeks back, said their peanut curry was legit. I figured maybe he'd actually show if it was his idea first. I booked a table for 6 just in case someone brought a +1. Optimistic, I guess. I got there at 6:15. Dinner was set for 6:30. I wore the cashmere wrap my mom got me 2 birthdays ago. Still had the tag on it. I'd never had an occasion that felt worth it. But that night, I wanted to feel like someone worth showing up for. The hostess smiled when I walked in. Party of 6? I nodded. Dana Morris. She led me to a beautiful table by the window, candles flickering gently, silverware already set. It felt intentional, like maybe this time things would be different. I sat facing the door. At 6:40, I told the waiter, they're probably just running late. At 6:50, I ordered a glass of Merlot. At 7:03, I checked the family group chat. Nothing. By 7:11, I was starting to feel like the last one picked for dodgeball. Then my phone buzzed. It was a message from my mom. Hey, honey. Logan just got some amazing news. We're heading to Sierra's to celebrate. Rain check? No, happy birthday. No, sorry. Just a shrug of a text wrapped in passive dismissal. I stared at it. Not because I didn't believe it. Because deep down, I did. I'd been fading out of family photos for years. I just never thought they'd stop pretending on my birthday. The waiter came back, sensing something. He didn't ask questions, just set a small envelope on the table and said, "Someone from your family dropped this off earlier." I opened it. Neat cursive on the front. Dana. Inside was a birthday card. The same exact one I gave my mom last Mother's Day. I recognized the smudge on the inside fold, where I'd accidentally dotted the I in proud too hard. The new message was written in Sierra's handwriting. Happy birthday from all of us. They didn't even buy a new card. Just flipped mine over. Rewrote it. Repackaged my own love and sent it back like a regifted sweater they never wanted in the first place. I stared at the card, at the empty chairs, at the menu I hadn't touched. People around me were clinking glasses, laughing over noodles and spring rolls. And there I was, in the middle of it all, with a hollow pit where family used to be. I didn't cry. I didn't storm out. I folded the card, tucked it back in the envelope, and left a $20 bill under my untouched wine. Right before I walked out, the waiter stopped me again. There was one more thing, he said, reaching under the host stand. They also left this. He handed me a slim gift bag. Light. Familiar in shape. I pulled out the contents slowly. It was a book. The same self-help book I bought for Sierra last Christmas. My note was still inside, torn neatly in half. The top half said, "To my sister who never stops giving." The bottom half? Gone. I held that damn book like it had teeth. The gifts we give ourselves. Hardcover, still in perfect condition, except for the missing half of my handwritten note. I gave that book to Sierra last Christmas when she was going through a so-called quarter-life burnout. I wrapped it myself. I even used gold wax to seal the envelope on the tag. And now here it was, handed back to me, like I was supposed to be grateful to receive my own effort recycled. I left the restaurant without saying a word. No dramatic exit, no broken glass, no yelling into the void. Just walked straight to my car, placed the card and book in the back seat, and drove in silence. When I pulled into my driveway, the porch light was still on. I stared at it longer than I should have. That light used to mean someone was home waiting for me. Now it just meant I forgot to set the timer again. Inside, I sat at the dining table and opened my laptop. I didn't even take off my coat. I opened a blank spreadsheet and typed a title. Stuff they don't remember, but I do. It started small. $300 for Logan's textbooks. $750 for Sierra's rent when she moved out just for a month. $1,000 to fix Mom's car before her girls' trip to Tahoe. $2,500 cosign on Logan's personal loan. Still unpaid row after row. It felt like digging up bones in my own backyard. Every line was a moment I told myself, it's just money. Family comes first. But it wasn't just money. It was my peace. My weekends, my vacations, my missed promotions because I stayed behind to help pack, unpack, babysit, fill in. By the time I was done, the total hit $11,340. 11 grand. $11,000 quietly funneled out of my life so theirs could stay smooth. I stared at that number like it owed me something. And maybe it did. At that moment, a notification popped up. Email from Wells Fargo. Transaction alert. Your linked account ending in 9132 was used for a $1,248.89 purchase at Modern Tech Outlet. I blinked. That was the backup debit card I gave Logan 3 years ago during his emergency rent week. I never canceled it. He swore he'd cut it up. I clicked through and pulled the statement. Along with the tech store charge, there were purchases from a high-end sneaker site, a wine delivery service, and this one nearly broke me, a catering service in downtown St. Paul. That catering service? They were the ones that did Sierra's engagement party last weekend. The one I wasn't invited to. The one I didn't even know happened. I opened Instagram, typed in her fiancé's name, and there it was. A carousel of photos, gold accents, rented glassware, a 4-tier cake with edible flowers. In the 4th photo, Logan's tagged standing beside the dessert table, raising a glass of champagne. The caption read, "Celebrating love, loyalty, and the people who always show up." I didn't feel angry. I felt erased. Not ignored, not forgotten. Erased. Like they'd lifted me out of the frame, rewrote the narrative, then slapped a bow on it and called it family. I closed Instagram and turned back to the spreadsheet. Added another line. Engagement party catering, paid via linked card, $1,248.89. Then I created a second tab, labeled it Emotional Withdrawals. In that list, I didn't write dollar amounts. I wrote moments. Missed New Orleans trip to stay with Mom after her surgery. Took Logan in for 3 months after his DUI. Threw Sierra's bridal shower, handmade 40 party favors, skipped my own birthday in 2021 to help Sierra move. Took the photo for last year's family Christmas card. Wasn't in it. I stared at that last one for a long time. I wasn't in it. Again. You ever have a moment where something feels off, but you can't quite say why? Until you finally look, and then you wish you hadn't? It started as a simple check. I'd been cleaning up all the accounts I had tangled with my family, canceling shared logins, unlinking cards, shutting down group emails. It felt like trimming dead branches off a tree that stopped growing a long time ago. And then I remembered the house. My dad passed 5 years ago. He left behind this small split-level place in Bloomington. Nothing fancy, but it was his. The deed went into my name and Mom's. That was the arrangement. I didn't ask for more. I just wanted it protected. Dad used to say, "A home ain't just walls. It's where you keep your name safe." So I logged into the county property records just to check the status. No expectation. Just being thorough. There it was. Our house. Listed. But the names? Mine wasn't on it anymore. Only 2 names were there now. Velma Morris, my mother, and Logan. I stared at it, thinking maybe I typed something wrong. Maybe it was a glitch. I clicked download full deed. The PDF loaded, and there it was, clear as day. Ownership revised. New deed filed 6 weeks ago. Next to my name was a blank space, and next to Logan's was a fresh signature line. Filed, notarized, processed. I hadn't signed anything. The room went quiet in that heavy way, like the walls were holding their breath. I called the county clerk's office. A woman named Brenda picked up. Calm voice, sounded like someone who'd seen too much to be surprised by anything anymore. I gave her the file number. I asked, steady as I could, "Can you confirm who signed off on the revision?" She was silent for a moment. Then, "Well, we have a signature listed here. Says Dana L. Morris." My mouth went dry. "No copy of ID?" I asked. "Just the signature page, notarized. No matching identification scanned in. I know that's not protocol, but—" She paused again. "This was submitted in person. Sometimes they push things through faster when it's family." Family. I hung up. Not rudely. I just couldn't hear another word. I sat at my kitchen table and stared at the laptop like it had betrayed me too. I searched my files, my email, my inbox. Nothing. No request, no form, no warning. They forged me out of my own father's house, and they hadn't even bothered to hide it. Later that night, Mom texted me for the first time in weeks. "Hope you're not upset. We thought this might be cleaner. Logan really needs stability right now. You understand, right? Cleaner. Like I was clutter. Like my father's trust in me could be folded up and filed away with a signature I never gave." My phone slipped from my hand and hit the floor. I didn't pick it up. I just sat there, the heat rising so slowly I didn't even notice my jaw was clenched until my teeth hurt. Then I got up, went to the file cabinet, and pulled out a folder I hadn't touched in years. Dad's will. It wasn't formal, just something he'd handwritten after his first hospital scare. It wasn't legally binding, but it was real. Dated. Signed. It said, "If anything happens to me, the house goes to Dana. She'll know what to do." I'd forgotten he wrote that. They hadn't. They'd erased it. I scanned it, attached it to a fresh email, and typed the subject line. Urgent, property fraud concern. Sent it to an attorney a friend had recommended 6 months ago. Someone I'd never thought I'd need. Until now. I closed my laptop and stood by the kitchen window. Outside, the sky had turned that gray-blue haze that only shows up when something's about to break. I watched the street, waiting for a calm that didn't come. Then my phone lit up again. A message from Sierra. "Logan's panicking. Can you just calm down and not make this into a thing? Mom says you're overreacting." That was the moment. Right there. Not the forgery. Not the silence. The expectation that I'd swallow it. Again. The knock came just after 6 p.m. Soft, but too certain to be anything other than her. I didn't answer right away. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the door like it owed me money. I'd spent the day in a fog of emails, legal jargon, and screenshots, all feeding into the same quiet fire that had been burning for weeks. Then came the voice. "Dana, it's Mom." Of course it was. I opened the door, just enough to see her standing there holding a pale blue gift bag. One of those last-minute ones from Walgreens, the kind with glittery flowers and a bent handle. The tissue paper was fluffed up like whipped cream, trying too hard to be pretty. "I thought we could talk," she said, "like adults." I didn't move. I didn't nod. I just stepped aside. She walked in like she owned the place. She always did. Sat on the edge of my couch like she was afraid it might stain her jeans. I stayed standing. She launched right in. "Look, I know how things must seem, but this has all been blown out of proportion. Logan's under a lot of pressure. Sierra's planning her wedding. We just didn't want to complicate things." "You mean with facts?" I cut in. My voice was calm, but the kind of calm that comes right before a storm breaks a tree. She flinched, just slightly. Then her face reset. "You always do this," she said, and I could hear the mask cracking. You take everything personally. You hold on to things like it's a sport. I didn't blink. No, I said. I just stopped pretending not to notice. She exhaled sharply, dropped the polite act. You're making this ugly. No, I said again, this time softer. I'm making it honest. She stood, shoved the gift bag at me. Here, she said. A peace offering. I didn't come here to fight. I took it, walked to the kitchen, and dropped it straight into the trash. Not with spite, with finality. When I turned back, her face had frozen. She didn't even try to hide the shock. I'm not interested in wrapping paper over rot, I said. If you came here to fix something, you brought the wrong tools. There was a beat of silence. Then I reached for the folder I'd prepared the day after the deed was forged. Neat, labeled, color-coded tabs. I handed her a single page. Nothing overwhelming, just clear. 5 years of financial contributions. Dates. Amounts. Who benefited? Who promised to pay? Who didn't? She scanned it without speaking. This, I said, tapping the list, is who you're calling dramatic. This is the overreaction. Her fingers tightened around the page. Next time someone asks where I've been, I said, voice steady, tell them I stopped paying to be invisible. She looked up, and for the first time, I saw it. Not guilt. Not regret. Fear. Because she realized she couldn't control the version of the story I was finally ready to tell. She didn't say goodbye. Just adjusted her coat like it was armor and walked out. One hand on the doorknob, she muttered, You'll regret this when you're alone. I walked her out and locked the door behind her. Then I leaned my forehead against the wood, and I whispered, I've already been alone. This time it's by choice. I turned back toward the kitchen, heart pounding, but not from sadness, from clarity. I opened my laptop. The attorney had replied. Quick and efficient. Based on what you've provided, we'll move forward with the fraud investigation. There's a clear case for property misconduct. We'll also pursue restitution. I stared at those words like they were a lifeline. Then my phone buzzed again. Group chat. Family first. New message from Sierra. Can we just not bring Dana to the rehearsal dinner? She makes people uncomfortable. They hadn't removed me from the group. They just kept talking like I wasn't there. Like always. I didn't mute it this time. I screenshot it. Every single message. Then I went into my photo app, pulled up a picture from 5 years ago. Dad and me on the back deck, arms around each other, both laughing. It had never been posted. Never shared. Just us. I uploaded it to Instagram. Captioned it simply, The last time I felt like family. Then I added one more line. No need to tag anyone. They know. I didn't think the voicemail would shake me. But it did. Not because of what was said. Curtis's voice was as smug as ever, whining about how the mortgage was now overdue and how I knew this would happen if I bailed. No apology. No ownership. Just the same pattern. Throwing the fire at me, then blaming me for the burn. I forwarded it to my attorney without even listening to the end. Then I powered off my phone and dropped it face down on the kitchen counter. I was done. The next 2 weeks moved like a quiet storm. Everything calm on the surface, but beneath it, I was dismantling every last thread they'd used to tie me down. I shut down the grocery delivery that still shipped to Velma's address every Friday. I canceled the autopay for the house's utilities, where my name was still on record, even though I didn't live there. I changed every password, every emergency contact, every access point they once used as a shortcut to my energy. I wasn't cutting ties out of anger anymore. I was reclaiming bandwidth. And then the letter came. Certified mail. Legal envelope. I didn't even need to open it to know what it was. But I did anyway. Final. Signed. Filed. My name was officially removed from every shared property title. No more co-ownership. No more, we assumed you were okay with it. Velma's name remained, along with Logan's, but mine was gone. Clean, legal, and this time by my choice. I stood there with the paper in hand, breathing deep like someone who'd finally surfaced from being held underwater. That night, Sierra posted a photo on Instagram, her bridal shower. All smiles and champagne and hand-lettered signs that said, sisters by chance, friends by choice. I wasn't in it, obviously, but I recognized the cake. I had paid for it. Last fall, before I knew better. The comments under the post made my stomach turn. You have the best family. So lucky to have such strong women around you. That's what sisterhood should look like. I didn't comment. I didn't message her. Instead, I pulled up the defamation log I'd started months ago at my attorney's advice. Screenshots, voicemails, forged documents, group texts where I was still visible, still present, while they planned my erasure like it was casual. The final email I sent was short. All documentation is attached. Let me know next steps. Proceed fully. The next morning, I got a call from the firm. A quiet voice said the words I'd been carrying like a stone in my chest. We're pursuing civil action, fraud, damages, defamation. And with the forged deed, there's strong ground for criminal investigation. I didn't smile. I just closed my eyes. Because justice doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes in silence, served cold and notarized. Weeks passed. Then Velma called. I didn't pick up. Then Sierra texted, "You're blowing this out of proportion. Do you want to ruin this family just because you're bitter?" No reply. And finally, Logan sent a voice note. His voice cracked, desperate. "You win, okay? Just stop. Please, I can't lose the house. I can't go to court. Just be the bigger person, like always." And there it was, the real voice behind all their pretty lies. Panic. Because when you pull your support, people who relied on your silence start to scream. I didn't answer him either. I poured myself a coffee that morning, barefoot, wrapped in my favorite old hoodie. No makeup, no armor. Just me. In my apartment that no one else had keys to. And I whispered to myself, this is what power sounds like when you stop asking permission to keep it. I've learned something no one ever taught me in that family. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is remember. Because once you remember your worth, you stop settling for scraps disguised as love. And when you stop showing up for people who never saved you a seat, they finally see how empty their table really is. If you've ever had to walk away from the people who were supposed to protect you, if you've ever paid the bill and got left out of the photo, tell me in the comments. Your story matters here. And if this one felt familiar, if it made you pause or exhale, or see something in your own life more clearly, stick around. There's more truth where this came from.